Hello everybody, welcome to another video. It's been a little while since I did a video just because we have been incredibly busy and a little bit short-handed and I couldn't pull it off. But today is the last week of August 27th or something like that, and here we are. The garden is getting kind of bushy at this end point in the season and things are really starting to finish on the farm. This morning we sent in our last batch of broilers to the butcher, so all broiler chickens are done, which significantly reduces our morning chores and evening chores load, and that's a big step towards things finishing. We are no longer transplanting or seeding anything in the greenhouse here in the garden. There's a few more ground sows to do out in some of those open beds, little leafy greens for late fall harvest, but those are almost done and they will be done very soon. And because of that, the bed turnover and prepping for plantings and ground sows is finishing up as well, though we do still need to rip out all of these crops at the very end of the season. And then also trellising the tomatoes and cucumbers, which is a big job during the summer when everything's growing so fast, is also coming to an end. Very soon we'll cut off the tops of the plants so that all the energy of the plant is focused on ripening the green fruits that are there. So then we will no longer be pruning and trellising those plants. They'll just be kind of riding out till the end. Our first frost could be in early September. It's usually more mid-September, but it can be all the way towards the end of the month. So we are really coming to that September period where a bunch of things in the garden could just die on us with a one cold snap. So we are hoping to finish well. We're hoping that the frost is later, that we have plenty of more time for growth, but we will see how this end of the season plays out. We are also starting to bring in our storage crops. So in the middle of the summer, we brought in all of our garlic from the garden, and that has been curing and drying. Recently we brought in storage onions. We'll bring in some more storage onions very soon here. And then the winter squash, which is down that hill there, is ripening up now, and those will be harvested after that. So a lot of things coming into the storage and into our new walk-in fridge cooler that we got this spring, and that'll be really nice for this winter, just to have a easier space to hold things and manage the temperatures on. But let's go walk around the garden, just see how things are going. It's kind of a hairy time of the year when weeds are getting more out of control and plant health starts to stagger a little bit as the cooler nights and just exhausted garden. So let's go look around and see what's looking good out there. So here in the garden, we've still got a lot of small things growing. These things will be ready for fall. We've got little greens, we've got carrots, we've got things that have been mowed down and are done. We've got herbs growing, lettuce mixes, just a lot of things that are doing pretty well. We are having some persistent issues with our carrot tops, which aren't lasting very well, and there's some other issues here and there in the garden, but overall things are doing well and we're getting pretty big harvests. Cucumbers are doing much better than they have in past years. We've addressed a lot of their health issues. This is the first planting that we did early in the spring, and they are still growing well. Some of the plants are finally dying off, but it's been a long, strong production cycle for these plants, and they've gone up to the rafters and started to go down again. So you can see they've got some longevity in them, still pumping out way more cucumbers than we need. And then there's some younger plants in here as well. Some of the last ground sows are coming up here. You can see these nice tidy rows of arugula and lettuce mix and radishes and stuff popping up in all these beds. That's really nice, and you will see those in late October. And those will be for some of the last CSA shares. We're turning beds over and getting ready to plant things. This one's got spinach seeded in it. We're starting to do some late squash there. We pulled out a ton of onions in this section. We need to get those weeds ripped out before too long. And we've got tomato plants in this tunnel. Every year we grow fewer tomato plants and they produce more for us. So there's a lot of tomatoes in there. I don't know if you can see them down the rows there, starting to ripen, but these tomato plants are producing over 100 pounds a week for us, which is pretty good, or over 100 pounds every time we harvest, and we harvest more than once a week. So we're getting a lot of tomatoes, really big tomatoes, and these plants are doing great. Just pumping out tomatoes for us. So we're happy about that, and we hope they continue. Like I said, our first frost will come anytime in September, and so pretty soon we'll cut off the tops of those plants and just let them coast to the end. And here in the very back of the garden, this is where the weeds usually get a little more out of control, because we don't come back here as much as we go to those beds up near the front. And we've got peppers in this back high tunnel. They're looking very good, starting to turn red and orange. Peppers take a long time to get that color change to happen, but they are starting to now, so we're glad for that. I'm down the hill now from the main garden, which is up that way, and this is our winter squash field. These are all winter squash, and they're starting to ripen up. There's a lot of fruit down here. We loosened up the spacing this year a little bit, and it seems like it's paying off. There's lots of fruit on each plant now that they have a little more space, and they're just starting to ripen. You can see them in there. Those are delicatas in there. I don't know if you can see them on the screen, but yeah, a couple more weeks for those guys. Whenever the frost comes and kills down the plant tops, that's when we'll be brushing these all into storage, and hopefully they will be all ripe by then. But they're doing pretty well. A little bit of deer damage on the far side where the deer get into the garden, but not much we can do about that. So fall is coming. When you see the winter squash ripening, you know you're close. Out on the pasture here, you can see that we're starting to get some browns and yellows in the pasture. No longer is it the bright green of spring, but there's a lot of yellow goldenrod and golden flowers out here, and even a tinge of brown as the grasses go to seed and kind of die off a little bit, and we head towards the end of the season. A lot of growth out here. We didn't have any cows here this year, which was new, and so we never really grazed down any of this grass, which is not ideal, but it's what we had to do this year. So a lot of growth happened, but no clipping and grazing or manure spreading. The egg-laying chickens are here, way on that far side there. They're heading up back towards the main farm area, and they are doing well, but the daylight is decreasing and their laying has decreased a little bit as well, so we're a little bit tight on eggs right now. We're trying to turn that around by adjusting the feed that they consume, a little more energy to combat the cold weather for them, and then also adjusting their lighting. They have a battery powered light in their coop, which keeps some artificial light to stimulate a longer day length, which is important for egg production. And so they are out there and they're laying, and we still have enough mostly, but it's getting a little tight. In a couple weeks we'll get a new flock of chickens, and we will rotate those guys out and a new flock will be rotated in, and then production will be back ramped up to full speed. But otherwise things out on the pasture are doing pretty good. Like I said, we took our last batch of broilers in. We did almost 1,200 broilers this year, and the last ones got loaded into the trailer and taken to the butcher today, this morning, very early. So that's done. We'll put all those pens away. These birds will go a little bit longer until October, sometime late October, when the weather starts turning, and they'll be done. Pigs go to the butcher later this month. A lot of things coming to the end in September. Okay, that's it for today. Just a brief update so we can get on with things. Next week I'll show you more about the pigs and the cows and anything else that's happening here. As I said, it's getting towards the late, kind of bushy part of the year when we're waiting for things to end. And we're excited for that because we're tired at this point in the year. And as the sunlight dwindles and it's darker in the mornings, it's harder and harder to get out there and keep going. And frost becomes something that's welcome eventually. So thanks for placing your orders and supporting us. We will see you at the drop site. We still have a bunch of weeks, maybe 7 or 8 weeks of CSA left, so there's plenty of food out here, and it will continue to be harvested and come out for a long time yet. Like I said, we're just getting going on storage crops, and there's a lot of fall crops still to come and tons of food out there. Even if we're not planting anymore, we've been planting for a long time, and there's a ton out there ripening and ready to eat. So place your orders, and we are all stocked up on chicken. We've got livers and hearts and feet and all that good stuff, tons of ground beef, and now's a good time to stock up on that meat for the fall, whether it's bulk ordering chicken, buying a quarter or a half cow, or just placing vegetable orders. We got you covered. So see you around, and thanks for watching.